Welcome. I'll be reacting to The Muppet Christmas Carol. I've never seen this movie. In fact, I've never seen a Muppet movie. I am vaguely familiar with the characters, and that's about it. Remember, this is not a market substitute. Please support the original on Disney+.
Hello. Welcome to the Muppet Christmas Carol. I am here to tell the story.
And I am here for the food.
I'm also here for the food.
The beginning, it's creepy and kind of woohoo, spooky.
This rat is amazing.
Welcome, Mr. Dickens.
Rizzo? Okay, so Human is playing Scrooge. One of my favorite parts of Dickens Fair is getting there really early and then going and hanging out in the shops area. The reason for that is that at the very start of the morning, Scrooge comes around to all the shops and starts berating the shopkeepers for their money. It's amazing, and I just love that part of the fair.
It's even worse for mouses.
There must be a sweet man inside.
Nope.
Nah.
Nope.
Prison keepers like to be suddenly
Quick, it'll be warmer in there.
Maybe not.
Actually, I think it's colder in here.
Merry Christmases. Every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips, buried with a stake of holly through his heart.
Well, not quite speechless.
Like Baldir.
Nephew,
If they'd rather die, then they'd better do it. And decrease the surplus population.
Oh dear, oh dear.
One more sleep till Christmas Day.
What a sweet little song.
Why are you whispering?
It's for dramatic emphasis.
I love how he has different food every scene. Ooh, are we gonna see the knocker turn into it? Yep,
Mr. Dickens, Charlie, are you hurt?
Charlie?
To say that Scrooge was not startled would be untrue.
Didn't even break his concentration.
He was in the middle of a concentration spell. There's a good balance of drama and comedy in this so far. Get the salt. Get the salt. This is awesome. We're Marley and Marley. Whoa!
Oh, jelly beans? I had them in my pocket all along.
You're like a jelly baby.
I forgot my jelly beans.
He could have climbed through the whole time. Oh dear.
What?
These two are the best part about this whole movie. Okay, that's creepy.
It is. I'm the ghost of Christmas past.
Stab it. Stab it.
business.
And you shall fly.
Ew, don't touch me.
Keep your nose to the grindstone. Work hard.
Later, Scrooge found himself
Yes.
standing on a city street.
I love Fezziwigs in the story and also at Dickens Fair. It is the most fun place to hang out. I always go over there for parlor games, and the best dresses are always there. And even if you don't have a partner, just watching them waltzing around is just amazing. They have live musicians. Sorry, I love Fezziwigs.
Hey, light the lamp, not the rat, light the lamp, not the rat.
My apologies.
Put me out, put me out.
Bryza!
Put me out, put me out, put me out. What?
Oh,
This is Belle, a friend of the Fozziwig family.
I'm pleased to meet you.
What's the goal?
This is for you.
it's not. It's for
I
you.
love you, Bill.
No, you don't.
You did once.
I am incredibly impressed by the costuming so far. Is it perfectly accurate? No. However, they're showing the change of time really well. You saw at the Christmas party that big fluffy 18th century hair and clothing style. Here she's going Regency, and her gown is about 10 years later. Clearly some time has passed. Different bonnet style, different imperial waistline. So the fact that they took the time to costume the characters based on what era they are rather than just doing generic Victorian, Orient. I really appreciate that.
2 o'clock.
Oh, is it too early for breakfast?
Yes.
Oh, good. Supper time.
Rizzo. Why is there so much challah at a Christmas celebration? I'm so confused.
Wonderful.
Oh, good.
Hey!
Rizzo.
Get me out of here!
I knew you weren't suited for literature.
Awesome, they have Yorkshire Pud. It looks like mini Yorkshire puddings anyway. In case you're curious, you do not need a recipe for Yorkshire pudding. Mug of milk, mug of flour, mug of beaten eggs. Whisk it together, let it sit for half an hour, then into a muffin tin with a tiny bit of oil in each of them. Put the batter in, pop it in the oven. Done.
One must drink to the health of Mr. Scrooge and badly dressed.
Tell you found her. Bless us all.
It's just like watching La Boheme.
I fear you more than any spectre I have yet met.
I don't know, that first one was uber creepy.
You're on your own, folks. We'll meet you at the finale.
Yeah.
No,
This has always been my favorite of the three.
I wouldn't mind going. If lunch is provided.
I've already put in my requests for what I want for my funeral lunch. One of them is a large, decadent chocolate cake. I hope they make it happen.
I picked a spot for Tim where he can see. It's a spot on the hill.
I'm actually looking into a lot of different options for me because I love the idea of burial, but it's really expensive. And I'm thinking of doing more like a nautical burial where it's cremated and then burial at sea. Or there's a really neat one that's new where they can basically turn you into a tree where you get buried into the base of the tree or cremated and placed in the base of the tree. And I've been talking to them as well, but that's about $4,000. I'm thinking it might be worth saving up for. I really have to make a decision soon about what exactly I want. There are so many good options for burials these days. I mean, there's also just the really sleepy, beautiful little cemeteries up in the hills. I think my favorite churchyard was Grandanwijk. It's in the sand, and it's absolutely beautiful.
a life can be made right.
He's putting in a splendid performance. Oh, that's so sweet.
Yes, sir.
He's like, what happened? Mini plum puddings.
Word.
That was absolutely adorable. The Dickens and his sidekick Rizzo were just hilarious. I loved that little element. I'm not very familiar with the Muppet characters themselves, but I really enjoyed seeing all of them in their various roles. I knew about the me one from the Hamilton version here on YouTube. And even though I didn't know who all the puppets were, I thought it was just so much fun and such a great adaptation. I'm sure Dickens is just like, what was that? But I loved it. It had so much heart. The songs were all really sweet. Such a perfect way to introduce children to Dickens. And it brought back so many nostalgic memories of Dickens Fair. For anyone who's not familiar with it, in the San Francisco Bay Area, there's a huge get-together every year, although not this year, where they transform the Cow Palace into this Victorian evening street, and they have all these shows and characters running around, parlors, readings. There's a whole area called the Docks, and they have sea shanties going on. There's stuff for kids, there's stuff for adults. The French postcard show, anyone? Never been to that? Someday. They always sell out those tickets. I get to the fair, I get distracted, forget to get my ticket. Sold out. They actually have chestnuts roasting, mini little meat pies, all this Victorian food. There's even a booth you can get cookies and milk. My favorite hangout spot, of course, is the Adventurers Club. And that's where all the military people hang out and do tactics discussions. They have educational things like how to do a table setting. That may sound simple, but it is really hard to do a multi-course table setting correctly. I'm always mixing up the fish fork and the salad fork. That's my downfall. I can never remember which one has a little arrow in it. And occasionally I get my sherry glass and my port glass mixed up. Someday I'll get it perfect. They also have live models so that you can do drawings of these famous pre-Raphaelite poses. Edgar Allan Poe comes over and he does some readings. Those are fabulous. The Telltale Heart especially. As you can tell, I am missing Dickens Fair this year. Which is why I loved Muppet's Christmas Carol. I just loved it. It had the same joyful exuberance that I feel when I go to Dickens Fair. This is definitely getting added to my list of Christmas movies to rewatch every year. Let me know in the comments below if you'd like me to check out any of the other Muppet movies, and let me know which ones.